Hello, I'm Fantastic and Fantastic, and today I am joined by the Pretty Pancake. And together we are going to be answering the question time questions put forth in the latest video. So, without further ado, Pancake will read the questions and I will answer them together. How's that sound? Or you can do the name and I can read. Which do you prefer?
Name.
You do the name?
Oops.
Oops. Alright, who is the first question? You're in charge of the scrolling now.
Antonio Paolucci.
Ask if I could contribute one change to Pad, what would it be and why? It's just having in-game information being readily accessible. Like, especially in the dungeon itself, you should be able to know if the next attack is going to kill you or not. That's just the most helpful thing for myself. Yep.
Osred Ballas.
Says, if I could implement anything I wanted into the culture of Pad, even if not real-life feasible or directly game-related, what would it be? I'd say something along the lines of, like, guilds or, like, just in-game, like, expanding the robustness of the friends system. Like, there's not much with the friends system. It's quite superficial overall, but, like, if you could have, like, guilds, clans, or some way to interact on a better basis, or even just improving the messaging system, I feel like that would greatly increase, like, the enjoyment of Pad from a culture point of view. Who is next?
Tim McCann.
Tim McCann says, do I like Sudoku? Ha ha ha. No, I don't like Sudoku very much.
No?
Not really. I don't like it that much.
I thought you liked numbers.
Not that much, no. Who's this?
Noob.
Says 18th. They always say random numbers. I like that.
Ricky Seife.
Alright, any thoughts on Phyllis and Natsaru? So, I was taking a look at these. So for Natsuru, the water transforming fairy, she is an incredible damage stick when you really think about it, and a healing stick. She has massive RCV, she has huge healing potential with enhanced hard orbs, she has double 10 and VDP. Arguably the best offensive awakening spread you really can have. Pretty magical overall. 2 turn-based cooldown once they transform. I think they are quite powerful overall. As a leader, it's pure health, so you need to match with something with damage reduction, but maybe you could argue that you pair, like, you need something with damage reduction to really shine, or dungeons that don't have gravities. For Phyllis, they have... where is Phyllis? Phyllis, with their multiple cross awakenings, they can do large amounts of personal damage when you match that specific pattern, and as a leader they do get damage reduction with 8+ combos, which is definitely doable because you just make a cross of light in order to get bonus combos, so it's definitely quite doable to always get your damage reduction. And you also have flat HP as well, so I lean more towards damage reduction mixture of health and damage reduction as opposed to pure health.
Favorite food.
Says...
Raul Bastidas.
My favorite food. What is your favorite food, actually? This is a question you can answer.
I love your spicy noodles.
You love my spicy noodles.
And
okay.
also your curry chicken.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite curry.
No, it's not quite. Coconut curry, light curry chicken, I guess.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm glad to hear it. Guess I should be making more of that soon. There's some leftovers for both, at least. And for myself, what do I like? I personally prefer Chinese cuisine over any other cuisine. And if I were to go to a restaurant and I had to pick one and I didn't have to pay, I would choose like traditional Chinese dinner. Or dim sum. Or dinner. So I can get like king crab, lobster, and all those delicious things that I could never get. What?
Assorted dishes?
Yes. You have to go in a big group, ideally.
Okay.
Ideally. Alrighty. Who is this?
Like Ram.
There's no question, just give me your food. Fair enough. Ramen loves ramen for some strange reason. I'm not sure why.
It's great.
Yep.
Tyborn.
No, you missed Acorn Art.
Oh, I couldn't.
Nah, you get to read the question.
What keeps you motivated to keep playing Pad and doing videos on them?
Well, I still enjoy the game, and for myself, it is the best way for me to interact and connect with others through a distant medium. Like, I have limited mobility, so I can't really go out necessarily, but I can connect and interact with people through a streaming medium and in turn like YouTube and my website, and I enjoy it at the same time. Acorn Art.
Tyborn.
Asks, how do I evaluate my monster box? I'm not sure even by evaluate. How do I sort my monster box? I can tell you how I sort, because I turn on box folders, of course, and then I have one tab for like just random prizes. Things I'd like to keep that have actually no value, I just stick them in there so I don't have to actually see them necessarily. And then I have one folder just purely of weapon assists. All my weapon assists go into that one folder. It makes it so easy to find exactly what I'm looking for.
Spencer Miyake.
says, have I read The Art of War? I have not read The Art of War. I read The Forever War, and we watched The Tomorrow War. I'm just using things
Do you
with
know
war.
what The Art of War is?
No, I think I've heard of it, but I haven't
Me
read
too.
it. Yeah. I'm currently reading the Three Body Problem trilogy, and I'm on book 2 right now.
Miguel Beltran.
Ask what stylus do I use, recommend? Well, I use the Pad Supen,
Super.
and it's basically just a stylus with a mesh tip. And it's the mesh tip that provides reasonably strong, like, connectiveness. Like, when I touch the screen, it doesn't lose contact, and that's what's important for myself.
I thought it's because it's smoothness that you
Smoothness doesn't lose contact while I'm moving around the board
like it.
either.
Not super grippy.
Yeah, it's that too. Yeah, it's
I
not
like
super grippy.
silicons.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Hit the read more for me. Don't know if you ever read it already, but The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is a very good book. I've heard of it, but I haven't read it yet. Have you?
No, never heard of it.
Okay. Do I get excited for collaborations even though I'm not particularly interested in the franchise that they came from? Well, I am excited if the cards are good. Like, Pad has never released a collaboration that I've really had any personal attachment to up until this point in time, so it's hard for me to say, because like I still enjoy collabs if they are good cards, but again, I'm not familiar with the franchises.
Gabriel Young.
Ask, what is my day job besides being a content creator for Pad, if I have one? Well, I don't, unfortunately. I have a myriad of health issues and problems that limits my ability to function. I spend, I'd say, more than half the days unable to truly function, and it's impossible to hold any true job because of that reason. Like, I could have flare-ups that last for weeks, and it's just like, no one will hire someone who can't work for weeks at a time randomly.
But you want to be a model.
But I want to be a model. No. Who wouldn't want to be a model? I don't think I have the capacity to be a model, unfortunately.
Never know that.
Mm-hmm.
X Random Donalds.
Says, hey, Mantastic, what do I think of getting my girlfriend to play other mobile games since she doesn't like Pad? He's gone through every month of, like, he's gone through a beautiful cycle of, like, I want to get my girlfriend to Pad. How do I do it? He gave his girlfriend his alt account. She played it for a bit. She didn't like it. She stopped playing. Now he wants to know what other game. Well,
What types of games does she like?
Exactly. What
Start
types of
from
games? What types of games does she like? Also, like, does she want to play video games at least?
RPG games are a good start because it's so easy and casual. At least to
I
me.
think RPG games take the most time because they require lots of playing in general. Mario Kart Tour, I think, is pretty fun in terms of like a light casual
Yeah.
game. It's Mario Kart, but simpler. It's fun. It's got cute characters. They make silly noises. What more could you want? Yeah, even
Right.
Pancake likes Mario Kart, so
I
yeah.
know, I got you into it.
Yeah, she got me into it. She told me to start playing it, and then I ended up playing more because I like winning.
Candy Crush? Does
No.
that still exist?
No! Terrible idea, Hollow Crown. Terrible idea. Alrighty.
Lokahi Kanahili.
And click the read more. It says, hey, Mantastic, not so much about Pad advice, but do I remember the older days of Pad, like pulling Naga and the 3-star rarity cards, or Basilisk Salamander from the rare machines? That was terribly dark days. Like, they were not really that good back then, so can you imagine them being pulled from the rare machine? It was so distressing overall. 10-minute wait time for stamina. Yep, Pantheon's just only being... Well, Pantheon's being featured the most was the great part, because team building was much more accessible by comparison, I feel, to a certain extent.
Those
But-
were the dark days.
Yeah, dark days for most things, for sure. But Pad has definitely come a tremendously long way overall. Hit read more.
Pineapple Cone.
Says they have a big dilemma. Do I think they should try moving out for a couple of months? They have a full-time minimum wage job, no career aspects, and living at home. They feel they should learn how to pick an apartment. There's someone I want to live with and have a kid with. They still didn't figure out how much money they need. If they stay at home, they can save money, which is good, but they'll never figure out their financial stability cost. If they move out, they'll find out and then be able to budget better. But both their parents and their friends say if they move out, they'll be barely able to save money, and having a kid now will drain them even more. I agree with that for sure. Their goal is really to get a high-paying job, but I don't know how to achieve that yet. People make it seem so easy. It is extremely difficult. Well, rushing to move out when your income is low is not the best choice overall,
No.
if you ignore other external factors like whatnot, like say like it's a bad place to live, like toxic environment, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. So living with your parents is not a bad or shameful thing. Like if you're making minimum wage, I'm just going to use $10 to make math incredibly fast. Let's say you work 40 hours a week. That's $400 a week times 4 weeks worth of work. So it's about $1,600, maybe a bit more, maybe $1,800 if it's 4.5 weeks you get to work. It's $1,800. How much is rent going to cost you? Like what you should do first is go online and find like a budgeting Excel sheet, or like there's so many different things out there, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of different budgeting free things you can download. Use it and just plug in the numbers, plug in your income. You're going to spend a couple $100 a month on food, probably 300 plus. You probably won't have entertainment. You will need to pay rent. You need to figure out all the costs and then do that before you even move out and see, is that even feasible? And how much can you save? Whereas if you lived at home, you can save significantly more. Because let's say you save $300 a month because you're living at home. That's basically $3,600 a year. You do that for 5 years. That's $18,000 plus interest for 5 years of saving. Like, that's not bad, and it's definitely a doable benchmark. Yeah. Like, you need to start saving, because if you move out so quickly, you're going to fall into the rental trap. And in the rental trap, you just never escape, because all your money goes into rent and you never actually save, you never actually buy a place, and that is definitely problematic. And Shaiti, thank you so much for becoming a fantastic follower. I don't think it's necessary to move out. And if you want to get a kid alone will cost more than probably your minimum wage job to support, when I really think about it, if you have your own space. Like, you'll be negative money, and depending on what your partner earns, it's going to be still difficult.
At least there's two people working.
But like I said,
it depends on how much you're making. It depends on the cost of living in your city. You could always like YouTube some, I don't know, apartment hunts and how much they cost in your city. I actually watch a lot of that on YouTube. No, it gives you a lot of like insight as to how much the city costs living would cost you. And then you put in all your bills and expenses in your Excel sheet and figure out a way to make it work.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah,
there's no need to rush out, because renting is basically throwing money down the drain if you had an alternative.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah. Who is next?
Friendly Line
says, do they think a non-reply is a response? And is that response actually ever good to use? I think it is a response if it goes on long enough. Like, for instance, like if you use a messaging service, a lot of times it says read on XYZ date. Let's say you send multiple messages a couple times, like say like days apart even, and they read them, they don't reply. That is a response. It means they don't want to respond to you, it seems. But they won't tell you, which is kind of rude in my opinion.
Yep, and most people are on their phones these days, and it's hard to just forget to reply. It's
hard not to see, because, like, for myself, I turn off basically all notifications, but hardly anyone messages me anyways. But I still check it on a regular basis. Like, I'll still check it on throughout the day, but like Pancake said, if people are always on their phone and they don't turn off their notifications, it's going to pop up, and it's going to leave a little icon at the top. So they will know it exists, I feel, especially if it happens multiple times. It's definitely possible that, like, they missed one message. Like, you could have sent something, they could have been interacting at the top, they hit mark as read or whatever, and that's possible. But if it's multiple times, then it's not a good thing overall. They continue saying communication is the key to make a good relationship, while a non-response isn't communication. Will that be considered emotional abuse? It's getting it depends how long it goes on for and what they're ignoring. Like, if someone ignores someone else's messages and that person now thinking, what did I do wrong? Why isn't this person responding to me? What would be the best approach if you're the one that is sending the messages and getting ignored? Call, yeah, you can definitely call. That's a more direct way. Yeah. But also, you need to figure out what person is this in your life and what significance do they have. Like, for myself, when I first got injured, a lot of people just disappeared out of my life. Like, we talked a bit before, I would message, they just stopped replying because I can't go out and interact with them as much. And that's just the way it is. So you need to figure out, is this person really worth stressing out over? Like, people come and go in your life, and it's just a way of life because you get older and your life goals change.
What if it's your girlfriend, let's say? What would you do?
Well, then that's alarming because it makes it sound like that they don't want to be with you, which is, again, like, it's a major red flag. Exactly. Like, if they don't tell you why, that just is immature on their end, I feel.
Yeah, what would you do, though? Just ignore them, too? But what if you...
I try for a bit.
in your life and you can't just, you know...
Who would be so important that they would ignore you, I guess? Like, family members?
Well, it can happen.
I know, but, like... I would just, if it's someone truly important in your life, then you would just maybe just try and keep in contact every little bit every once in a while. Just check in with them, maybe. That's all I could say. But you'd have to, like, detach yourself if they're not that important to you.
But what if they're very important? Like, girlfriend, let's say.
You might just have to break up with them because they don't want to interact with you. Like, are they your girlfriend or they ignore you for weeks on end? No, not really. They're ghosting you at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Like, remember your friend, how that guy ignored her? Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's a problematic thing. Like, they ignore you. You gotta move on in that sense.
There's no way around it.
Exactly.
At least in her situation.
Exactly. All right, who is next?
Basketball.
It says, if one of my friends messages me anonymously and have a conversation with you, how would I be able to tell that person is your friend, and would you know who it is? Maybe based on their writing style.
But what if they tried to change that on purpose?
Well, then you wouldn't know. Then you wouldn't know. Then, okay. How would you be able to tell? Like, I would, if they have certain mannerisms, they say certain words, they text a certain way. Like for myself, I don't abbreviate things. I don't start saying. I say like okay. I often type out the full 4 letters. Sometimes 2, but I never just say K. For instance.
No.
But like some people do. Like I said, there are certain like mannerisms that people do transfer through text. Like I don't use emojis. My dad uses lots of emojis. Like I can pretty much guarantee you if I didn't know who messaged me and the message has tons of emojis, I know it's my dad. It's true. Like those are giveaways, so to speak.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. But what about if you were to be on social media and someone hacked into my account, saying hypothetically, not saying bad wishes, I appreciate it, and started a conversation with my friends. Do you think it's possible for friends to know it isn't you? How can you tell that person is using your account isn't you? I think it's just the way you write.
They talk, yeah, definitely.
They'll talk differently. Like I have a certain way of talking and texting as well, and I feel like if I changed, it would be a little alarming. Well, like really, you will notice. Like if I started texting you and I started being like K, dope, word.
Well, sometimes you do that on purpose.
But it's silly. Like not.
Oh. Sometimes you sound like a textbook. Sometimes you sound like a kid.
Okay. But you know that's me.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like, let's say I started doing.
We have our own inside jokes.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I started saying weird things, or like I started shortening words when I don't do that. Like great GR8. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No,
but like some people do that. So like certain things would be giveaways. I'd say overall.
There you go.
Exactly.
Hope that helps.
Hope that helps.
Pink donut.
Says they've been hanging out with one of their friends, and every time he says he'll pick me up at 2, he comes around 2:15 or later. And he's always late and never notifies you. Is he being rude?
They could be being rude without knowing.
Well, let's continue. I try to talk to him about it, but he says things like, I'm not rude, you are overreacting, or you have nothing to be mad about. He claims that the world doesn't revolve around me, and what would you do if you're me, and how would you solve the situation?
Pet peeve. Yeah. People being late. Ooh.
I dislike people being late. Like, yeah. I'm quite punctual. My family has kind of made sure I was punctual. Like, growing up, if I was late one time, I would get screamed and yelled at to no end. It was terribly traumatizing. Even when I wasn't late, I was screamed at for no reason sometimes. It was terrible. So, like, I'm quite vigilant about being on time. And I dislike it when people are not on time without enough heads up. Like, I can understand if something comes up, but let us know ahead of time. Like, let's say we meet at 2. Don't text me at 2:15 saying I'm leaving and you're about 20 minutes away. That's terribly rude. Completely unnecessary.
I agree.
And I guess it comes down to Pink Donut, like, is this happening on a regular basis? Like, is it possible that you don't need to be picked up by them? That sort of thing.
Pardon?
Like, for Pink Donut, like, do you need to be picked up by them? Can you have them come to your place, say if you're hanging out? I guess not, that's getting picked up though, but like, find a place where you meet where even if they're late, you have something to do. Because it is frustrating, like, waiting for someone if you're not in a good location.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're out and about and you have to meet someone and they're 30 minutes late. You don't really have much to do when you're out and about, I'd say.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But
if waiting.
Exactly. If you're at home, it's not as bad because you usually have something to do. So maybe you can try to find a way, like, where they pick you up or where you meet them is somewhere where you have something to do and you won't.
Sometimes you can't really control.
I know you can't, but like try is what I'm saying. Yeah. But it is rude. I definitely think it is rude overall. And they say, like, with other people, if I'm upset with their behavior, you tell them, but they keep saying, "Oh, I'm sorry if you feel that way." They don't really apologize. They just keep using non-apology apologies or "I don't care." Why are these people that can't be empathetic towards me? Are they considered emotional abuse? I think they're just rude and
just plain rude.
They're just plain rude. They just care about themselves more than other people, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, they lack consideration.
Yeah. Like, if you were a more important, this is as bad as it sounds, if you were a much more important person, they would be on time every single time. Like, that's how I view it. Like, let's say you were tasked with picking up, like, the President of the United States for whatever reason. You're going to be really on time. That's important. But if they're doing it to you over and over again, they just don't value you as much, as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, or they just lack manners.
That too, yeah. But they just don't value. Like, if it's important, people show up. Like, people, like I said, like, I think people have enough time to do most things, and it's a choice of not doing those things.
Exactly.
Like, there are very few people who are so busy they have absolutely no time for anything whatsoever. It's a matter of them allotting time to you.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, keep it there.
How do I not romanticize a relationship or a person? When they get into a relationship, they think way too positively about the other person. Like 7 months ago, she said, "Oh, I can't wait to see you. Let's wait until the virus clears." She never got back to me. They feel they put themselves in the back burner position for her, and that might be a really bad idea. You have your needs, and if you wait for that person, you may never have your needs met. Mm-hmm. So, continuing, they said, should you let yourself ever be the back burner for other people? Like if you're person A, for person B. So person B is, I guess, the girl in your situation here. Is it okay for you to date other people while waiting for that person B? It's only okay if this is something you both agree upon.
Yeah, you might want to ask her permission.
Like, are you dating? Are you seeing each other? Are you exclusive? Those sort of things. Like, you're free to do what you want as long as you both are on the same page. Because let's say you want to see other people and person B is just not wanting to see you whatsoever, and you see someone else behind their back and they thought you're exclusive. That is cheating in a way. So, like, you should address the problem head on, I'd say. Like, what do you want out of this? Do you want to keep seeing me? Do you want to see other people? That sort of idea. What do you think?
I agree. Like, I wouldn't want to miss out if I know, like, there's somebody there that you may be potentially interested in as well. Mm-hmm. But if there's nobody, then I guess you can wait. But how long is that is the thing.
I know, yeah. You have to value, like, how important is this other person to you? How long have you really seen or been with them? Yeah. And then if, like, they're just kind of brushing you off and disappearing, so to speak, that's kind of frustrating because, like, you still can interact with people even with COVID. Like, COVID is obviously on the decline, I think, now at least. But even when COVID was more at the height, there's still ways to interact with people distantly even. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like they just kind of disappeared out of your life, which is unfortunate. But I would really talk to them and ask, what do they want out of this relationship?
Yeah. Or is it even a relationship at that point?
Exactly. Just figure out what this is.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, what is next?
Superman.
Is the ideal relationship just mutual reciprocality? They feel if they give too much, they can feel resentful. To be clear, I give without strings attached. If a friend asks me to drive 60 miles both ways to drop her off somewhere, is it a bad idea to charge her for some money? I don't know. How expensive is gas? Like, if this happens on a regular basis, that sort of thing. Like, it's also quite a bit of your time as well, I'm guessing. Yeah. Keep in mind that is somewhere I'm not going to on their own. They're doing it only for her. How much should I charge her? Just ask her to pitch in for gas. Like, it's expensive, probably, is my guess.
Just bring that up casually, you know?
Yep. And how do you calculate how much you should charge if they ask for a ride? Going there because of their own reasons, you're not going to charge her all. Yeah, of course, if you're going there anyways, it's just like they're hopping in for the ride. That's fine. But, like, I don't know, like, just at least cover the cost of gas for yourself, I feel. What do you think? They should pitch in, I feel, if you're driving them exclusively.
Yeah. Especially if it's a regular occurrence.
Yeah, if it's a one-time thing, maybe not. But if it's happening on a regular basis, you need to think about yourself as well, Superman.
Yep.
And Pracker, hello and welcome to the stream. How are you today? Alrighty.
Moving on to Alien Dude.
It says, work, should you always be honest? They recently got moved to a new department at their job and they're not happy there. They moved them because no or little work at their original department. They asked them if I like it, and I say I like both the same. That is a lie. Even though I really like their old department better. They do want to get moved back to their old department. Is there a risk of them getting fired if I say I like the old department better than the new department? If you're my supervisor, would you fire me? How would I get back into my old department? Why did you get moved to a new department, I guess? Is it because, like, the lack of work? And is that what was appealing to you? Like, does that department still exist, I guess?
Also, is the pay better?
Yeah, is the pay better as well? Yeah, that's definitely important.
I don't think they'll fire you. I mean...
They can't fire you for saying you liked your previous department more. I don't think that's...
tell them, like, maybe after, like, some consideration, you actually prefer the other one back. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because they can't fire you because of that. That's not valid grounds for dismissal. No, you can't be fired for that.
Yeah,
you can sue them for that because that's not a justifiable reason to fire you. So you can bring it up, I guess, but maybe figure out what's missing from the new department, I guess. That would make it more enjoyable.
Definitely.
Alright.
Okay. Baby firefighter.
It says, do you think it's true if they really like you, they will always make time and space for you? I say yes. There are very few people who are so busy that it's impossible to actually make time for them. They sometimes feel sad because they forget to invite them or say, sorry, the car is too full. If they like someone, they will try to include you. If I'm the sixth person in the car, they can take 2 cars, 3 in each. They know it's not right to get angry at them because of that. They're angry at them because they didn't include me. I would be entitled, but I'm not entitled. Did you ever reject someone because of the situation, not because you didn't want to include them? When is it okay for you to get upset if other people express it? Is this happening often? Are you, like, always the second choice, so to speak? Like, are you only invited to things if someone else can't attend? Is there... Or more so, why is there a space limit, I guess? I guess the car example makes sense, but where are you guys going to? Like, that sort of idea. But I feel like if you were important enough, they would include you more actively. Like, people go out of their way to include people they like, I'd say.
Or, like, people will try to make it work. Because I have a lot of friends who, they may be available on that particular day, but, like, there's a couple who can't make it. They will try and compromise. You know, like, people would go out of their way to make sure everyone's included.
Exactly.
And if you seem to be the type of person that they just include because, like...
There's an extra space.
Or, like, they tell you last minute, like, oh, would you like me to come? But they don't really mean it. It's, like, that's quite alarming.
It can be a little alarming, I agree.
Yeah. Like, I would want to talk to them and, like, tell them how you feel. Like, give them examples of those instances where they made you feel, like, you know... second choicey.
Yeah. I agree. Alright. Who is next?
Harry Potter. Whoa.
They actually got that YouTube name. That's impressive. If you're a masochist, should you ever admit that you are? If you like being in pain, you can purposely anger others so you can make fun of you and you'll be serving your needs. If you tell them that you want them to make fun of you, they would be very weirded out. So if you do not tell them and you make fun of them and they make fun of you back, would that be manipulation? In a way, but since you're only triggering them for your masochistic needs, if you're a masochist, you'd probably anger them purposely without telling them. Sorry, at all. And what would you do for me? Like, admitting to others is...
They might find that odd.
They might find it odd. Like, it's important that you admit it to yourself, for sure, because it's not healthy, I'd say. It's not healthy behavior overall.
Well...
Seeking pain out. I'm in pain all the time. Trust me, I don't seek it out.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's not a healthy thing to do, I'd say, overall.
Well, this seems like an emotional pain.
Maybe it's emotional pain. But I guess maybe figure out why you feel this way.
Bullied,
or maybe, like, are there any workarounds about it, making fun of your friends to galvanize them into making fun of you? Like, that's not the right way to do it, I feel. Because you might end up hurting them as well. Like, what you say to them. Because you're trying to antagonize them to elicit a response to be aggressive back to you.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy behavior overall.
It's not a healthy relationship either.
No, it's not.
Especially to
Yeah, because if them, like, they don't want to be made fun of, etc., but, like, suddenly it comes out of nowhere, it doesn't feel good, potentially.
Yeah.
And it may not serve the needs or purposes you want.
That's a unique situation.
Yeah. Alright, what is next?
Batman Beyond.
More superheroes. If they have no shelter and they're homeless, would it be wrong for them to do small crime purposely just to get the society to give them free shelter at a jail cell? They'd rather live in jail rather than the streets. It can be very troublesome to society, but they have to last resort stuff to survive. What do you think a society can do to prevent people like yourselves? How can you prevent crime before they happen?
I'm pretty sure there's other ways to get free shelter. Like, I know in our city there's a lot of free shelters to homeless people in need. Also, if you do, like, these crimes, they'll be on your record, and if you want to get a job in the future, it could affect that.
Exactly, you might just become...
You're just harming your future.
Yeah, like, you might just become stuck in the...
Yeah, it would be
correctional
hard to get
system.
out.
Yeah, you might just get stuck in the correctional system, and don't know if that's something you want.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you might live more comfortably, in a sense, than the streets, but you do lose other aspects, potentially. I guess also it depends what country you live in. If you live in the States, probably a bad idea to go to jail. If you live in, like, the European countries, they're actually quite pleasant overall, if I'm not mistaken. They focus on rehabilitation, not profit. I guess that's the difference. I guess it depends on the country you are in.
Europe?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a few. Let's just go through it. Tom. Flounder says, is it wrong to express your opinion all the time? They notice that if they express their opinion, it upsets others. They would like to keep their opinion on their own and not get manipulated by them. They do like the non-conformity also. It shows that I use their mind and come up with different conclusions than them. I think in specific places like churches or Christian online groups, the person should not express that God is not real. Yeah, you need to be mindful of the situation you are in. Like, don't go to a church and start speaking blasphemy, so to speak. Like, it's not necessary. Like, you should, like, everyone is entitled to having an opinion, but you don't need to antagonize others. Like, I guess having an opinion is like having a penis. Great to have one, but it becomes a problem when you whip it out in public and start waving it around in other people's faces. You just don't need to, like, thrust your opinion down their throats, so to speak.
Good one.
Like, just be, like, I guess when you're interacting with someone, do you, like, will it improve the situation explaining your opinion? Like, that's how I oftentimes view it. Like, is it going to improve the situation, what I say?
Otherwise, they'll just, you'll be in a conflict.
Yeah, people go to church to learn about God and conclusion. That's why it's inappropriate. On YouTube videos, it should all be comments allowed, except some certain comments. Express a different opinion on others, they can call you troll. Like, I think it's important to have a comment section, but, like, abuse and toxic behavior is not necessary at the same time.
No one likes it.
No one benefits from it. And really, a lot of times, like, online trolls, they're really just projecting their own shortcomings and insecurities online to try and feel better by hurting other people. It's,
hiding behind anonymous.
Exactly. It's pretty pathetic, in my opinion, overall. Flounder says they're not crazy. They also try not to defend themselves and let them come to the wrong conclusion. There shouldn't be anything wrong with thinking differently about stuff. I agree there shouldn't be. Hit the read more. For those kind of comments, should I just ignore them if they truly have different thoughts about their opinions? Also, they say, if you truly love me, you should do this. Wouldn't that be manipulation? Yes, that is manipulation. At that point, should I just not reply to that person? Who is this person, I guess? If they're someone that's important to you or not, if they're not that important, it's toxic behavior. They're always trying to force them to think they're crazy and should change their opinion about whatever subject that is discussed.
It's quite aggressive.
It is quite aggressive and hostile. Like, as long as you're not promoting, like, hatred or anything negative in that sense, it's okay. Like, you can have an opinion, and if you have, like, ways to back up said opinion, it is all right. But again, just don't whip it out and just, like, be like, ah! Like, just be mindful of other people in the setting you are in, if it's going to help the situation or not.
Yeah. Alright.
Yep.
Moving on to Bart Simpson.
Alrighty. If you find a wallet with $2,000 in it but no ID, and you stay there for 20 minutes and no one came back to look for it, would it be fine if you just kept the wallet and used the $2,000? Would that be theft still? It's hard to say, to be honest. Like, you don't want to put up a wanted poster saying, like, did you lose your wallet?
Lost items to police stations.
Yeah, that's usually the safest way to do it. At the same time, because, like, keeping it for yourself, like, I don't know, that's...
I don't trust anybody else but the police.
Yeah, like...
Like, not even lost and found.
Yeah, I know.
Or, actually, our transit system does have security.
Okay.
We have a lost and found there.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it, but I don't know, like... I guess turning it into the police is the best course of action, because,
My
like...
mom and I actually found a wallet, but it had IDs.
Okay.
And $200. And
wow.
what my mom did is made me, like... act like a little detective on Facebook and try and find a person and a message.
Makes sense.
And they picked it up.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah. But in this case, there's no ID, so...
I don't know, like, keeping it... Like, I guess you could probably keep it and get away with it, I guess, but it may just weigh on your conscience.
Yeah.
You might be a little paranoid, perhaps. Because they could argue you stole it from me. And then
what
you
would
have
you
it.
do?
I feel like I'd try and give it to the police, I feel. Because, like, at the same time, like, what if
they needed that money?
What if they pressed... No, like I said, like...
What if they just went to the ATM machine to pay for, like, medical bills and, you know...
Right. But, like, I think, like, in my head, like, let's say you keep the wallet and, like, there's probably, like, I guess where you lose it, there might be security cameras there. Or, like... It can backfire on you in a negative way, and why take that risk, I guess? Not just karma, just could backfire on you, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Who is next?
Princess Fiona. Oh my goodness.
They always ask a girl to hang out with them, but every time they do, she stays silent. When, like, you ask her, she doesn't reply. But when I say something that is not that, you two talk. Should you question her why she is staying silent? You would like to know what is on her mind. You feel like if I get upset with her silence, it can make them look creepy towards her. What should I do? You do want to hang out with her still.
Oh.
So you talk and interact, but every time you bring up the subject of hanging out in person, she doesn't want to.
She just ignores.
That's pretty rude, and that's pretty rude. Like, if they're ignoring it multiple times...
I feel like I would ask her, like, why do you not feel comfortable? If that's the case, then I guess I would stop asking
Or just stop interacting with them, even,
because
potentially.
they clearly don't want to hang out.
They don't want to hang out with you, but they just want to talk to you and, like, use you maybe as, like, a ear to... like a sounding board, even. Yeah. It could be that. It seems one-sided in that sense. Could be.
Mm-hmm. I would ask her.
Yeah, asking is not a bad idea at all, to be honest. And if they keep ignoring it, start ignoring them. If they stop messaging you, it means they really didn't care. You were just a convenience conversation at that point.
Yep, move on.
It's kind of true. Like, if you are always one initiating and you stop and they don't even try to initiate, you were just a convenience conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That hurts.
Oh, of course, I agree.
Obama Lincoln.
Alrighty. Should a 6-year-old be dating a 23-year-old? Is that wrong? It's unusual for sure.
Yeah.
They would think if both get along with each other and treat each other right, it should be okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's unusual, like I said. Nothing more. There's no morality wrong with it if they're two consenting adults. Mm-hmm. Some people think negatively about the 23-year-old, like she's being a gold digger and she's not really interested in him, or that the guy's just looking for clout and fame. But they really do not know anything about that. If you were a 6-year-old person and being accused of that, what would you do? Breaking up with her is not a good idea because you're in love with her. Staying up will get you criticized, but you get to live a good, ideal life. At the same time, does it matter what other strangers think?
Yeah, like, if you're really happy with her, you'd stay. I would.
Yeah, exactly. If you're both happy and it's both consenting adults...
It'll be hard because you'll be constantly judged. Mm-hmm. Also, what would her family think?
I know. Like, the biggest issue of age gap, I'd say, is just, like, there's not as much common ground. Like, for Pancake and I, we are a similar age, only 3-year difference. So we've had very similar life experiences. We've seen the world develop and grow at a similar rate. But for the disparity of 37 years, that's an entire lifetime worth of experiences that the other person just won't have. And I feel like that would be an issue. But like you said, if they do love each other, or you do love each other, it can work out.
Make it work.
You can make it work at the same time. Like, at the same, like, it's not illegal, it's unusual, but does it matter what other people think? Because people that you don't interact with, does it really matter what they think? Because, like, they're not going to be in your life at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just be constantly judged.
Yeah, that's just the drawback of it.
Yeah. I pressed something.
Okay, Pancake broke something, that's okay. Oh, what'd you do?
I don't know. There
Good.
you go, it's gone.
Alright, good job.
David Jimenez.
Says, if the purge was real, no law for 24 hours, and everyone could literally do anything they want, what would you do during the purge? I would probably just lock all my doors and stay inside. I don't want to go out there and get killed.
That sounds like a chaotic time.
It sounds terrifying. Like, I would just barricade my door, get my sharp, pointy knives.
It reminds me of the Vancouver riots.
This would be more extreme. Like, I don't know, I would just hide in my home and protect what's mine. Yeah. Like, I don't need to go out and steal things. I'd probably get stabbed by someone as well. They're like, I can stab people, no problem. Okay. Like, I don't want that. That's what I think.
I got shot for free at Nordstrom.
You would probably get stabbed in there. I feel like it'll just stab you.
I'll wear body armor.
You'll steal the body armor to get it first, right? Would I try and rob a bank to get money? What actions would I do during the 24 hours? I would really just stay at home and just be safe. I really would.
I'll be like, we're back. I'll be back in 20
You may never come back, though. Can you? Like, that'd be horrible.
Just kidding. Where am I?
Do you think society will operate better if they had no rules? No, it would not work better.
That's why we have rules.
Exactly. If you have no rules, how would you think that would affect society? Like,
chaos.
Chaos. Like, humans are pretty scummy creatures if you really think about it. Like, people blame, say, video games for creating a violent society. No, we're
just inherently violent.
We're inherently violent species overall. Like, people say video games make people violent. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. We burned people at a stake like 150 years ago or something, didn't we?
Yeah. Like, we usually almost always just care about ourselves.
Exactly. Self-preservation. Self-preservation is the number one goal, and basically walking over others to get that goal is what works. Like, we're not a hive, collected mind group of individuals. We are individuals. We're not a hive mind. We don't work together for the better of others as a general rule, I'd say. So I think it'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I agree.
they think it is good that we can have no rules since we get to see true values. No, true values are inherently bad, I'd say. Like, I'm not necessarily going to evil, but they're just malicious overall.
It can be.
Like, if you had any possible grudge against someone, you would act out on it. And that would be violent.
And if you can get away with it, right?
Exactly, so. Yeah. Someone would not murder someone because of their values, would still not murder. I don't understand that. If someone would not murder because of the law, we will be able to see his true nature if we remove the law. Do you think if we remove the laws would benefit society? No. Like, I think a lot of people are capable of violent acts, but society, laws, and just, like, social, like, expectations keep us in line in a healthy manner. Because, like, people get into disagreements all the time. If you could attack that person with no repercussions, what would happen? Like, for instance, like in the States, like, I know quite a few people do own guns. You could have the slightest tiff or misunderstanding and pew pew.
Road rage.
Like road rage is a big thing. Like, can you imagine road rage on a scale of every person? Terrifying.
Yeah, I would not come out.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
I'll just join you in your shell. Alright, Michelle Perez
says, do you think it is a fact that we can feel each other's emotions and what they don't want us to do? Sometimes we can tell if their response is genuine or snarky or sarcasm. Yeah, you definitely can if you know the person well.
Intuition.
When people get mad at them, they can feel the vibe. Is there a technical term for that? Vibe, emotional quotient, feeling, gut feeling, maybe? I'm not sure if there's an actual term, perhaps.
Intuition?
Maybe, yeah. You think it is true that we become the people we hang out with the most? Yeah, like, you definitely are influenced by the other person. Like, I've become... Pancake has greatly influenced myself. Like, I eat so much more junk food. I watch lots more TV. She's influenced me. And I've influenced Pancake. She exercises more and eats healthier. It's true.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. She is much better compared to before, and I'm not that bad. It's just a little bit more indulging. She's also shown me the joys of capitalism, I guess.
Love it.
Buying stuff. But you definitely start gravitating towards, like, other person. Like, you'll meet somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you're a bit more towards the more favorable or healthier habits. Like, their influence and ideas become... Yeah, you definitely can have overlap for that, sure. They hear our ideas only come from what we are exposed to. What do you think about this? Well, a large part of what you do... like, your beliefs and ideals come from what you do experience. Like, it's hard to imagine... being someone else completely different that had a completely different culture and upbringing. It's difficult to empathize with them and understand what they're going through.
I mean, that's why you're friends in the first place, because you have common ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
You become who you surround yourself with. Yeah, you definitely can. Like, I feel like there's a saying, like, surround yourself with successful people, you're more likely to be successful, maybe. Something along those lines. It makes sense in a way, because you think about it. Like, let's say Pancake is doing something productive. She's working hard. Like, she's studying, doing great stuff. I would probably feel a little bad if I wasn't doing something productive. It's true. And
I'm that way, too.
Exactly, and it works both ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely want to surround yourself with positive individuals. Like, if you surround yourself with toxic individuals, you become a much more toxic person, for sure.
Yes.
And they do believe that we do influence each other is why you should avoid bad company. I agree. But you also can understand their point of view. If they're a criminal and become reformed, I would be sad if no one wants to be friends with me. That's a big jump for sure. But, like, I guess it all depends on, like, what crime you committed, the severity of it, who were the victims. Like, so there are some victimless
crimes. I feel like
crimes.
Most people wouldn't even know that you were a criminal if you were.
Yeah, you don't tell them.
Yeah, like people you just met.
Exactly.
And if they think you're a great person, they would want to hang out with you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Genghis Khan.
Is asking girls to have sex immoral and wrong?
On what context?
Why would it be wrong? You're asking them.
At least you're asking.
Exactly. That's okay. They do believe they should always respect their no. Yes, you definitely should respect their no. No does mean no.
Yes.
But there's nothing wrong about asking about it. Like, if you're in a relationship with someone and you care about them, it's nothing wrong about being affectionate with them. It's true. Alright, yeah, but definitely respect their wishes if they say no.
Peter, no.
It is a fact that Earth will die in the far, far distant future. Should we be worried about that? They hear the sun will balloon up and the Earth's surface will get hotter and hotter. That is billions of years in the future. Don't need to worry about the sun.
We're fine.
The sun engulfing us, not an issue. Then the oceans will evaporate and the life will not be sustainable. How do you think we should solve that? Well, billions of years from now, there'll be a...
Like, Earth dying, yes.
Yeah, Earth
but
dying
we're
to
not
that.
doing well.
We're not doing well for
Climate
other
change
reasons.
is real.
Yeah. But
we just had that heat wave. It was terrible.
Yeah, that was quite horrible. But
yeah.
What should we do to solve that? Well, like in the future, like I said, what do you think society will do to prevent the Earth from dying? Well, we need to readjust our consumption of things that harm the environment, like waste, fossil fuels, like things that contribute to the decline of the planet is problematic.
Capitalism might not be a good thing.
It depends if it's renewable, like what you're buying in a sense. Like if you're buying frivolous products that are just have very little value and you use it once and throw it away, it's not the best.
Recycling is a good start, so that way we ease, landfill.
Yeah. We should also need to gravitate away from buying things we don't need. And
being a minimalist?
Well, more minimalist if possible. It doesn't have to be full-on minimalism, but like buying things that are meaningful for yourself, things that spark joy. Yeah. And anyway, there's a bigger chance that human might not exist way before then due to global warming and stuff. You hear global warming is actually man-made and it is real. It has reached the gold standard. Do you think we should do anything about global warming now? And best way to prevent global warming? Well, it all starts with where you put your money, to be honest. The only thing that really causes change is money. Like, if everyone stopped buying products that were problematic, that product would not exist anymore.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
But everyone has to do that.
But everyone buys those products. Like, for instance, like plastic bags in grocery stores. They're being phased out for sure. Like,
it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's a start. Like, I think what is most important is making changes on a personal level. Because it's hard to impact and change policies. But what you can do is basically speak with your wallet. You can choose to buy these products. You can choose not to buy these products. And you can also just make choices like don't turn on the heat during the wintertime if it's not necessary. Can you wear a blanket? Don't turn on your AC if it's not necessary. Maybe just take off clothes. Like, my point is, like, there are some things you can do on your own end. Like, do you own a car? Can you drive less? Maybe get an EV car or a hybrid. Like, for both of us, we don't own a car.
EV car?
Electric vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Pokemon car.
Not quite. Like, neither of us own a car, and like I feel like our environmental footprint is pretty light. Like, we both use transit. We never turn on the heat.
Around, like,
we never turn on the heat during the wintertime. We don't have AC. We turn off lights for the most part.
You save money because of that.
Exactly. So like you can do some things on your own.
It depends on what you need.
Exactly. It depends on your own needs overall for sure.
Agent Smith.
While dating someone, how can you tell if you're being used by that person? What should you be looking for in a relationship? What are some major red flags and small red flags? Should you change yourself for your ideal partner or stay the same person, since to love someone is to accept them? Well, what do you think?
First, I don't think you should change just to be liked by others or for that person to love you, because what's the point? It's like pretending is so tiring. If you're not yourself, like around that person, what's the point?
Exactly.
It's almost like you just want them to like you with like, and you have this mask on like all the time. It just sounds really tiring.
And it's tiring to lie even. Like, I'm not saying necessarily lying, but like not being yourself is tiring.
It also doesn't feel like as satisfying. Like, I'm with Jonathan because I feel like myself and he brings out the best in me, and that's what I see as important in a relationship. And how can you tell if you're being used by a person?
Well, you feel like it's lopsided, the relationship. Like, if you ask...
If you get too much and they don't really...
reciprocate. Or they're always asking for things, like it could be time, money, or material goods, whatever it is, and it's not being reciprocated. They only talk to you when it's convenient for them or when they want something. Those are some red flags for sure. And the only time you should change yourself is to remove toxic...
Bad habits?
Toxic behavior, bad habits, etc. Like,
if it's for the better.
Yeah, like
especially if the relationship. Why not?
Pancake used to worship instant noodles. Like, we could have built a shrine out of all the packages she bought. I feel.
Come on, you're roasting me.
I know it's roasting right now. It's hot. I know, but like my point is, like, she did change over time. Like, so those types of changes are.
Those are good.
Those are good types of changes.
Productive.
Exactly. But at the same time, like, you have to accept that you can't go into a relationship expecting to change someone else. Like, I didn't know if I could ever break the instant noodle shrine, but I did manage to topple it eventually.
I had one, dang it. Okay, I'm craving for some now. Stop talking about it.
Alrighty, what is next?
Some YouTuber.
How can you tell the difference between enabling bad behavior and being accepting? Is there such thing as being accepting too much? What shouldn't we accept regarding a person? Well, it depends on the scale of the bad behavior. Like, for instance, the instant noodle dilemma. Like, a little bit of it is okay. When it goes 4 or 5 times a week, it's a problem.
Yeah, if that's all I eat,
then it's a problem. But, like, once in a while, it's okay. Like, she makes her happy. Like, I even have, like, a little nibble every once in a while, too. Like, I try and I'm like, okay, that was interesting. I don't want any more.
Yeah.
So, like, it depends on how bad this behavior is. Is it manageable, etc.? What shouldn't we accept regarding the other person? I guess behavior that is harmful to themselves or others.
Being rude?
That too, yeah. Or behavior that's quite negative in some way, shape, or form that's prolonged. Like, for instance, they say, if we don't accept a person habits like biting nails, that person will get annoyed at us, and since they're an adult, it's his life, we should butt out of it. I guess it depends how close you are to that other person. If it's just an acquaintance...
If it's a pet peeve of yours, I would let them know. Also, it's not good, like biting nails. It depends on how detrimental it is in your relationship as well.
Exactly. But he's saying, as a full-grown adult who makes decisions in your life, what don't I accept? Toxic behavior, passive aggressiveness. Like, unwarranted passive... Is it really warranted passive aggressiveness? Not really.
I never want that.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I just try and remove those things, because those are things you can change, I feel. Like, you can make the choice of what to say, and if people are constantly choosing the wrong things to say, well, that's a problem.
But sometimes they don't know that.
I know, so you have to obviously address it if possible.
And hopefully they listen.
Hopefully they listen. But again, it all comes down to what kind of person this is in your life. What are some things that a person does that bothers me? Ideally, if you're unhappy with the other person's skin color, and you want the person to change his skin color, that'd be very superficial. Well, yeah. Well, that, I think, is just an extreme example.
That's also just impossible.
Yeah, exactly. It's just impossible.
Without harming yourself.
Exactly, yeah. Alright, what is next?
Oh, Marianne.
Read more. You think it is true that the more of it, the less value it is. Will be, the less of it, the more value it is. Are you talking about, like, just basic supply and demand concept? Can that be applied to dating also? Can you attract more potential mates in that way in theory?
Like, less is more?
Like, there are less people for you to compete against. You think it is true that the more of it, the less value it has, the more, at least of it? Yeah, it's like supply and demand, so how does that attract a mate? What do you think about the red pill? The red pill states that a person should wait for the girl to chase the guy, but if both are interested, either one can initiate. I think both can initiate. There's nothing wrong with initiating.
What's a red pill?
I still don't really know, to be honest.
I've never heard of that.
I know red pill, blue pill from Matrix, but I don't think that applies here.
Whoa.
Well, like, you know, it gives you the 2 pills.
That's true.
I don't think it applies here, though, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by this, but... Well, I guess maybe that's why, like, say, on dating apps, at least back in the day when I was using them, there were less girls on Tinder, for instance, so supply and demand. There are so many more guys out there, it's easier for a girl to get matches and connect, so to speak.
I'm still trying to read that.
I know, I can't quite wrap my head around it, unfortunately.
So let's say the red pill can be some kind of rule. So the rule states that if...
I think both people should be able to make the first move. Like, it doesn't have to be the guy every time, for sure. It does not.
Yeah, or it doesn't have to be always the girl's call. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Sometimes I prefer when the guy initiates. Cause
you always prefer it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, who is next?
Warhol.
If Pancake has amnesia and forgot everything about me and there's nothing you can do to bring her memory back, how would I feel? I feel devastated. How would I live my life? I'd be confused.
I wouldn't know you. I'll be like, yo, where am I?
How do you try to make her remember? Well, luckily Pancake does document what we do quite well. There's pictures, and I guess these YouTube videos do exist as well.
True.
Like, at least for myself, there's some digital footprint or paper trail.
I would try and recreate past memories.
Yeah.
And hopefully that triggers something.
Yeah. So we should meet at Metrotown and you arrive 30 minutes late. And
Stop!
Anywho, but I don't know, it'd be challenging overall.
That's tough.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but you still have to, do something.
I know.
So what else would you do?
I don't know, I just try and recreate those things, like spend time with them. Like, you fell in love with me once, you probably fall in love with me again in theory. If you're that same person, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League.
Says, do we think Ouija boards actually work? If you can communicate with the dead, who would you communicate to? Do you think they work? I don't really think they work.
I don't think they work.
Mm-hmm. Who would I communicate with? I have no one I really want to communicate with because there's no one significant in my life that's really passed away, I feel, at this point in time, which is great for myself.
But I do believe in ghosts.
Okay.
Because I may have seen one when I was younger. Well, not really that young, but, you know.
They also ask if a person is 8 years old and has been in a coma for 20, wakes up at 28, will they act like an 8-year-old or 20-year-old? They'll act like an 8-year-old because they don't learn while in a coma as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's an 8-year-old's mind in a 28-year-old body. If that happened to me, what would I be doing? Well, I'd be an 8-year-old, so I wouldn't.
Adults, so
I would be an 8-year-old. I wouldn't even know this is a bad thing. I couldn't conceptualize this as a problem if I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'd be just confused, but I think most 8-year-olds are confused in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's deep. Mountain is Val.
What's the ideal approach while dealing with narcissistic people? They will pretend to act innocent, oblivious if confronted. If you express it, they will deflect at you and make you doubt your reality. What should the offended party do in that situation? Can only control yourselves, not the other person's behavior. Is this important in person to you? Is this person important to you?
Let's say yes. What would you do?
They are important to you. I don't know. Like you have to like almost feed their ego in a way. Like I found some people who I know love themselves and like just will never accept that they're wrong. The best way to deal with them is just shower them in compliments if this is someone who's important to you. Like.
Because there's no way around it.
Yeah, like if they truly never think they're wrong and you are always in the wrong even though you're not, you have to grovel in a sense, I feel. Like just apologize, tell them how great they are. Narcissists love hearing compliments about themselves, to be honest. And I guess if you do it enough, they'll just forget that you exist and they won't be toxic to you because they're like, oh yes, I love myself, thank you. I don't know, like...
That's one way of doing it.
Yeah, like just keep them
happy. It's either that or just be aggressive, right?
Yeah, aggressive, I don't know.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
Doesn't really get anywhere. But I don't know, like if it's someone that you have to keep in your life, you just need to just pacify them, so to speak.
That's kind of sad.
It is sad, but like you said, if it's someone who's important in your life,
and you want to keep
them,
and
you have to keep them, it's hard. Like you have to just keep them happy, so to speak. Like
you have
feed
to
their
be
ego.
Like incredibly understanding.
Yeah, like you have to keep constantly watering their ego flower and let it keep blossoming.
Yeah. Because that's how they are.
It's how they are,
There's
unfortunately.
No changing that.
And they don't want to change either. It's like, there are some people like that, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I know you. Misdrevious.
If you're expressing real emotions like crying and they claim you're faking it, how should you react to that? Holy, that is terribly toxic. Does that person need to be in your life? If this is someone that's important to you, they would at least care, I'd say. But okay. You've done that. You've had that done to them before where they're just crying because they were scared or upset. Even though they saw them crying, they claim it was fake tears.
Some countries or society views it that way.
Yeah.
They don't care about mental health.
True. And I guess there is that whole concept of toxic masculinity. Like,
that too.
Boys can't cry. It's not allowed. Like, growing up, I was told that so many times. You can't cry. You can't show emotion. You must
Some people just invalidate your problems. They don't think it's a big deal. They just tell you to just, get over it.
Like, empathy is lacking as a general statement, I'd say, nowadays. Like, it's
I don't know. Growing up, that's how I experienced it.
Oh, okay.
That's why when I actually have something like, like pretty heavy, like a problem, to them it's nothing. So they just invalidate what I'm going through, and it's really toxic. And I thought that was normal.
Well, that's a lack of empathy on their part. They just they can't imagine your situation. Like, it's easier to brush people away and just say they're bad. That's the easiest way to put. It's the easiest way to react. Like, you're crying. Oh, you're just a silly, overly emotional person.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I've pushed you aside, gave you a label. I can live my life.
And you also grow up and learn that, and it becomes a part of you, and it's not good.
Exactly. But if this is how you feel, you should trust the way you feel, not what other people tell you. Like, no one should tell you how to feel, I'd say.
Yeah. Maybe seek therapy.
Maybe, perhaps.
Clearly, these people won't listen to you.
Or if these are people that you can cut out from your life, cut them out of your life.
I agree. As hard as that sounds.
I say this only because I've cut so many people out of my life, or it just happened indirectly.
It's not worth it.
Exactly, it's not. I agree. Who is this?
Husky livers.
So, according to the universe, or God, I'm using quotes because they are, it is said that you have nothing to worry about. The opportunities will come looking for us. It does not make sense in some way, since if we feel we have to force the interaction, it can mean we're trying to beg for the validation or trying to make it work, even though it may be too early or would never work out. I believe things don't just fall into your lap. You have to work for opportunities.
You have to do something.
It's incredibly rare something magical falls into your lap.
That seems like just a saying.
Yeah, like people who keep think good things are going to happen, but don't actively make any steps to make good things happen.
Yeah.
They're just delusional in that sense.
Like, if you want a high-paying job, you go to school, get a good degree or whatever.
Yeah, you figure out a profession that makes money and work towards it.
For it.
Exactly. Sometimes God doesn't want us what we want because we deserve. Sometimes God doesn't give us what we want because we deserve better.
It sounds like another saying.
Sounds like another saying, and it just comes down to like, do you believe in God or a higher power? That sort of idea. Yeah. Self-love is very related to this. If there is nothing that we need to do to make anything work. For the friendship or romantic relationship they had, they never had to make it work. It works because we have self-love and we know what we already do is enough for ourselves. Well, maybe you just were quite compatible. Like, you still have to put in effort. Like, I put in effort with Pancake all the time. Like, I can't just, like, think, oh, everything's going to be great and dandy all the time. Like, I still need to make her happy. Like, I write little notifications for her. She gets happy, spend time with her. Surprise her breakfast in bed today.
That was nice.
I know. Exactly. Like, things like that. You still need to put in the effort and do things.
Yeah. It may come as second nature to you that you don't think you're like actually actively doing something. That's great.
Yeah. Husky lovers is... Oh, sorry. Yep. Continue.
But you still have to, put in the action.
Yeah. So they say, supposedly, the ideal romantic relationship will come knocking on their door, and people are suggesting that I do not look for love, otherwise it's not going to work. You need to put yourself out there. If you just are sitting alone in front of your computer screen, not talking to anyone...
You have to do something.
Your soulmate is not going to find you. She's not going to fall out of the sky into your room. No, you have to put yourself out there.
I had to sign up for Tinder, and that's how I found you.
Me too, exactly. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I don't... like.
It just depends on your perspective.
I think it's incredibly unlikely great things fall into your lap. But if they do, say yes, of course. But don't expect that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to actually take steps and work towards it.
Exactly. Connie at her back.
Do you think that life can still exist without plant life?
No. I love my plants. We need oxygen.
If they can exist without plants, how would they exist without plants? Well, plants make oxygen. Oxygen's important. Plants, the ocean.
To breathe.
Yeah. Like, the ocean technically produces most of the oxygen, and it's still, like, plant-related things that are doing it. Algae, whatever it is.
Can you synthetically make oxygen?
Plants do it so much more efficiently.
Yeah, I feel like scientists never bothered to
try
that.
Society, exactly, but something that really works. How would society change if all plant life died? We'd all die.
Yeah.
Well, the vast majority of life would die, I guess. Those that rely on oxygen, which is anything that's remotely large.
Anything that's breathing.
Yeah, remotely large. Not microscopic, I feel, maybe.
Yeah, no.
They think they would probably make oxygen molecules and give lots of food since plants are bug food. Who can make oxygen? It's difficult to make oxygen. Like, the process probably takes a lot of effort to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen.
Yeah. Also, like, do you have the capacity to do that?
On a scale to help the world,
Just don't kill plants. James Miller.
Oh.
You start reading.
Even though you haven't made the answered video yet, I just want to say thank you for sharing my perspective on lots of topics we go over, and thank you for making the past questions videos. Being difficult to answer so many questions, I definitely agree. You're a very kind person and generous with my time. Oh, I do appreciate it, James Miller. I am fun to talk to, and I always get excited when it's the first of the month so we can talk more.
Aww.
They do have to confirm that what you said in your last video. The majority of these people are actually fake. I think that's what you said when you said people staying anonymous part of the video. You probably found out what really happened behind the scenes already. Similar syntax, identification, digital presence, single. You really do hope you and Pank... Okay, so basically, yeah. So I definitely think some of the accounts could be just, like, made up accounts.
What we notice is some of them talk the same.
Similar. Yeah, it could be the same person with different accounts.
I mean,
maybe.
It's fine.
It's not bad. Like, they're not being offensive or anything.
No,
like,
we have nothing against that.
Like, I think what some people were doing was, like, you have, like, I think, let's say James Miller. This is your YouTube account. Your main YouTube account.
Because it's so easy to make new ones.
You can make a new one to ask a very personal question, therefore you stay anonymous. I feel like that's what's the case, because none of the questions were terribly offensive or anything, so it was okay, and I don't mind.
Maybe they're just, embarrassed to ask really personal questions, which we can understand.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're happy to, at least give our opinions to help.
So, they really do hope that Pancake and I stay together. Oh yeah, I do hope so too. And live well. Oh yeah. You also hope my health conditions get better, eventually better. I hope so too. I went to the hospital on Friday, July 2nd. And I was an x-ray model. They took so many pictures of me.
You were a model for
I know. I was 45 minutes there. Like, there was a lot of x-rays done. I did not glow in the dark afterwards, thankfully. Thankfully.
They did inject you with anything.
No, but like X-rays, radiation, glowing people. Like,
Yeah,
it's just the stereotype. Either way. They also hope that my help. They suddenly struggle with insecurities and watching my videos actually help them. So I'm glad these videos help your insecurities. It's always nice to hear my updates in life. They don't really read books themselves, but they believe books are really cool. Aesop's novels, Grimm's fairy tales, and the Bible can really be a good learning source to make your life better. Ever heard of those? I've heard of Grimm's fairy tales. I've never really read them much.
I used to watch them.
And I'm aware that the Bible exists, but I've never read it. And have I ever heard of those? I'm not saying you should believe in God. You should believe in whatever makes most sense to you. I agree with that. Like, having
Believe in what you want.
Exactly.
What helps you out.
Exactly. All right, so let's scroll down. Just earlier this week or yesterday, you found out that you made a Q&A video many years ago, and there was lots of hate comments. I should ignore them. I definitely do agree. Like, I don't know. Were there hate comments? I don't even know. I don't know. Like, I've learned that I can never make everyone happy. Like, it's impossible to make everyone happy. Even if you gave everyone so much generosity, someone will be upset. And it doesn't matter because, like, if I look at, say, like, the YouTube videos, say it gets 1,000 views and there's, like, 50 likes and then 1 dislike. Well, who cares about that one individual, what they think? There's 1,000 people watch it. 50 people took the time to say I liked it even more. That's what you should focus on. Like, okay, let's put it this way. Let's say you have $100 in your pocket and for some reason you drop a couple of pennies. Do you spend the whole day crying about those pennies that you dropped? No, because it's literally an insignificant drop in the bucket, so to speak. You still have...
Easier said than done. Like, some people are a lot more sensitive.
I know.
But we don't entertain those haters.
Yeah, like,
what's the point?
It doesn't, like, they're, like I said, most people are trying to go to reaction. They're just projecting their insecurities, and I know they're just sad individuals in real life, probably, so, like, it doesn't bother me. There, what's up? You are a very cool individual, and this is a very good opportunity to get to know each other. What I do is very amazing. You give great advice and lots of others. If they make fun of you, don't listen. Thank you, I appreciate it. But I do appreciate your positive words, James. I do like it. Thank you so much. And universal healthcare is definitely a blessing, but there are shortcomings. A lot of treatments I still have to pay out of pocket, or I wait for several years. Or I wait for several years. It took me 3+ years to get into the current pain clinic I'm in. It's a long wait time. It's a long wait time. All right, let's scroll up.
Up.
All right, it's the last one.
Really?
Yes, Harry says. Well, you can read it out loud.
Hope I'm not late. I want to use Shinji and Rei base form, but I'm not so sure how.
Okay, that's pad stuff. But you're not too late. Don't worry. I was hoping you'd say more like There we go. We got an animated You want to use Shinji and Rei, like the machine killer people? Base form. They're just a machine killer stick that's able to smash their way through Shura 1 for the most part. I like them as a sub. Usually a leader is a little... There's better leaders out there. They tried playing with Iroha, but she doesn't really add combos. Would School Kyo be better when he comes? School Kyo is just a infinitely superior leader to most things available. But I think a sub is really where they shine best in Shura 1 because everything's a machine there. And we are definitely doing great together, and I appreciate it, Harito. Alrighty, so this concludes our question time. Not as long as the previous one, so we have time to do other stuff this afternoon. Woo. So, hopefully... Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for all of your questions. It is fun for us to answer them, and Pancake likes it too, doesn't she? So, with that being said, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own adventures, and...
What do I say?
And... I say it anyways, and...
Happy puzzling.
Happy puzzling!
Can you edit that?
No!